Hello, my name is Panos Kotsathanasis, and this is ASEAN Movie Pulse Interviews. Today I'm here with Cynthia Madanat Sharaiha, whose film Saleem will be screening in Annecy shortly. How are you, Cynthia?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, I'm fine. Great to have you here. So, since I do not know a lot of things about you, can you tell us a bit about, let's say, the path that led you to filmmaking?
Sorry, about what?
How did you become a filmmaker, let's say?
Oh, okay, yes. Let me start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I, we started television production and filmmaking company almost 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a filmmaker by education. I studied engineering,
Mm-hmm.
and my husband is also an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a passion for art and the media. I had a passion for art since I was a kid. You know, I always wanted to study something related to art, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities at that time in our region, in Jordan, related to art. So I studied engineering, but I shifted. After graduating from university, I worked with humanitarian organizations because that's also a passion of mine. I worked in projects related to development, rural development, and human rights.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shifted my career to filmmaking and media as Shadi, my husband, started the company and I joined him. And since then, we've been producing local productions related to children, family, women empowerment, all these themes, and mainly for broadcast TV. And then later we shifted when all the digital and online shift happened. We also shifted to digital and online. And I used to love, when I had kids, they used to watch animated films and series, and I was very jealous. I said we need to produce something like this in Arabic. Why can't we do something like this that represents our culture and our stories? And so since my children were little kids, I always wanted to do something in Arabic in animation.
Mm-hmm.
My passion. We had training on along the years on filmmaking, directing, and all of that by training and working on the ground. We produced award-winning short films, series, and we have a very famous 2D animation series on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And on broadcast TV and social media, different platforms on social media. It's a viral family show that has over 2 million subscribers on YouTube and over 680 million views on YouTube, all organic. This is a very well-known show in the region, in the Arab-speaking region. It's called Our Family Life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a funny family series.
Mm-hmm.
That also portrays some social themes and girl empowerment, women empowerment in some of the episodes, but it's like a very funny, light series. And we've got awarded several awards on that series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and Saleem is essentially, it deals with a number of very serious topics, but it's essentially a children's movie. So why did you decide to make a children's movie, let's say, and not a more mature, let's say?
Yeah, I think because there's a need for children movies that not many people tap into these issues. And I think there's a need. Children need to see themselves, especially those who are hurting, those who are going through hard times, refugees or displaced children, or children that are facing traumatic experiences. They need to see themselves in a children's movie. They need to see a child that looks like them, and feel their feelings and represents them, So I think that was the main reason for that. And also because, in our world today, especially with in our region, there are a lot of wars and unrest, conflicts, and refugees is a thing that we are very used to in Jordan, especially because Jordan has hosted a lot of refugees along the years, for decades. And nobody, or not nobody, but little people are telling their stories, especially from a child perspective. We have some stories for adults, they're telling the stories of refugees, but from an adult perspective. But not many are doing it from a child's perspective. Also, there's with wars all over the world and refugees all over the world right now. This story is not just specifically for our region, but it's a world story. With COVID years, a lot of children are suffering from mental health problems. A lot of children lost their parents or grandparents or friends, neighbors. So it's the issue of mental health has become very wide, but little people are paying attention to it.
Okay. And in general, what would you say are the consequences of the instability in the area to children?
Oh, yeah, consequences. I think it's alarming because, children have a way of concealing their pain, They will go out and they will play and they will, adapt quickly to the neighborhood and to new friends and everything. But then the pain will be inside, it will show up later when they're becoming adults. So I think it's very important to tackle these issues and actually make the children feel safe to express. This is part of the movie as well, is that children can express their feelings, their emotions, and they feel free. They feel that, there is someone on the big screen that looks like me. There's someone that everyone in the world is watching, a famous film that the world is talking about and watching, and this person looks like me. And he has problems, and he has issues, and he has nightmares, and he's dealing with the loss of his father, So a mental health issue is very, I think it's alarming, and art and film is such a good way to make children feel safe and ease their worries, and entertain them at the same time. We want them to have fun. Of course, so
okay.
I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Okay, but since you mentioned it, so do you believe that art and particularly cinema can make a change, a real change?
Can make a real change? Yes, of course, absolutely, absolutely. As I was telling my husband this morning that there are storybooks that when I read to my children as they were kids, they impacted me, and I'm sure they impacted the children because they had, there's a message in that storybook. For instance, like the Gruffalo or Paper Dolls, or, that these tackle the issue of pain and loss, or the issue of low self-esteem, or, but they bring it to the children in a way that is very disarming, very fun and light. So, yeah, of course, I'm absolutely sure that films and cinema can make a change.
Okay, the film shows that the solutions to the problem Saleem has are coming from his mother first, then his teacher, and then his friends. Is that for you how solution to such problems will come, from having people around you like those?
No, actually, it's I kind of disagree a little bit about the role of the mother. Of course, the teacher, Miss Amal, has a big role. His friends have a big role, but I think the mother, Saleem, has a role in the mother's recovery. It's the other way around. Because she is emotionally distant. She's not engaged with her children because she's suffering from trauma as well. But then as Saleem gets better, he actually helps his mom get better. So, help, the solution for Saleem comes from different angles. The teacher or the counselor at school, Miss Amal, which plays a big role, telling him stories because she went also through some traumatic experiences herself. And the friends, the effect of the friends rallying around him, supporting him. We wanted to show also that the community plays a big role in welcoming newcomers, welcoming refugees, helping them, befriending them, and walking the journey with them. So the friends have a big role. Also, himself, at the end, he's all alone in the forest. Nobody's there, and he relies on himself. He picks up the power in him, and then when he picks up the power in him, he reaches the treasure. So help comes from different, and also from people from the community, such as the grandma and the shopkeeper, who's his father's friend. So we wanted to also highlight the importance of the community, and also the power within him. Also, sometimes help comes from supernaturally, like the pigeon that shows up and guides him through the way. So it's all these things. Like there's something magical about it, and I believe that children see magic in everything. See something inspirational that helps them.
And so, would you say that the presentation of the teacher is realistic? Do teachers in Jordan work like that as the one in the movie?
I'm sure some of them do that. I'm sure there are great teachers, and we salute them. I'm sure there are teachers that are empathetic. Maybe it's not the majority of representation of teacher, but we wanted to also show the better version of everyone. People like to see the better version of themselves in movies and on the screen. So we wanted to show the better version of everyone. Even the bullies, the bullies, they turn around and at some point and they become friends. So.
Okay. And the inspiration behind the story, is it based on some personal stories or testimonies? How did you came up with the story?
The story itself.
Yes.
We do write as a writers, as a team. We have a writers team, and 3 of the people here in the room with me are in the writers team. Dolly, Majd, and Shadi are part of the writers team as well, and we write in a group. So we created the story together, basically, with other people, of course, joining us. We, each of us at some point poured some of his story into the story of Saleem, and some of our experiences into the story of Saleem. So it does have part of our stories, yes.
Okay. And since we have the animation director there, can he maybe give us some details about how did he work on that aspect of the film?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Do you have specific questions about that?
Maybe tell me a bit about how did you came up with the art form? What did you wanted to do with the motion of the characters, more or less?
Yeah. Well, Cynthia definitely wanted to have the emotions come through because it's we're touching a very sensitive topic. There's a lot of emotion that we were going to need to show, a lot of subtle things. It's not like slapstick humor, which is typical for animation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different thing. And that's why from the beginning we went with 3D animation, because we wanted to be able to have more emotion, show more detail. So that was that choice. And we were very focused on all of the facial animation for sure. We have a lot of close-ups on facial animation and showing the nuances of fear, anxiety, and the thoughts, basically showing Saleem's thoughts on his face and showing more than telling. So we have a lot of that in this, and so we spent a lot of time. A lot of our animation team was not actually here in-house. We have a lot of the animation team was from all over the world. We had probably over 70 people within the pipeline of the animation department was from different places, the Philippines and Vietnam and the US and all over the place. India.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to work, remotely with Zoom meetings and going back and forth with different iterations of the animation process, where we would review with Cynthia the animation, of the face, and then send back comments to the animators, and they'd fix it and send it back. So we did that a lot to try to get that the animation looking correct. And of course, working in the film being in Arabic and the animators not speaking Arabic has been actually a big learning process. We had a whole nother stage of the animation process where we had to translate the Arabic into English and then write the Arabic in English so that they can read it and how it would sound. And we had people speak out the lines and record their face so that the animators could see how they said the words. So it was an interesting process, and we did all of this through COVID as well. We learned a lot in that process for sure.
Okay, you will be ready for the next pandemic then.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, and tell me a bit about the football match, which the movement is a bit different than the rest of the thing, a bit faster. Let's say, how did you work that part?
Yeah, we had to actually go. We worked on the storyboards for that a lot more than the other scenes. The other scenes we were able to quickly move through the storyboards and the animatic and just go straight to animation. But for that scene, we had to do a lot of back and forth with the storyboard and the animatic process, making sure that we had all of the shots figured out before we moved to the football scene. Because we knew once we started that, it was going to be hard to go back. And actually, we made some mistakes when we got to the animation process where the characters were moving towards the wrong direction of the goal, because there's a scene where he actually kicks it into the wrong goal, but in the animation he was going to the right goal. So we had to go back and reanimate some scenes on that one, just because it was a complicated scene with all of the movement going on. Yeah, that was a fun scene to do.
Okay, so that was the most challenging aspect, you would say, of the animation?
In terms of movement, yes, that was the most challenging shot. But I'd say that the forest was probably the hardest thing for us to do, just because of the size of the scenes were huge. All of the trees and the grass, and that was a huge rendering process. Which once you render something that big, you don't want to go back and fix something. So that was a big challenge for us as a small studio to tackle scenes of that size. That and the ocean scene and when Abu Dured sings at the ocean, the water scenes were pretty complicated as well. but I go back and watch it and I think, how did we do that? I forgot. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And okay, Cynthia, can you tell me also a bit about the casting, and maybe the actors can tell a bit about their experience working in voice acting?
Yes, yeah. The actors, we have selected actors that mostly are first time, especially the children, first time actors. Some of them have the experience in dubbing, drama series and other things, and some of them have experience in voice acting in our 2D animation YouTube series. We brought some of those actors as well. It was fun working with them, but it was also challenging because it was during COVID. So we had to work in very limited, there was curfew, lockdown, and we had to work in specific hours of the day. We had to put, masks and be careful with everything. We had to deal with also some sickness of the team and the actors. So a lot of challenges went into that. But I think the characters really understood the story and did a great job portraying that in their acting. And in their emotions, while some of them did that for the first time. So it was really a very rewarding experience, I think, for us and for them. I'll let Dolly speak about her experience as Amal, as Miss Amal. Dolly is also on the writers team, and she's also one of the producers of the film. Okay. So she's multi-talented.
Okay.
Yeah, Dolly.
Hello, Panos.
Hello.
Do you have a specific question, or should I?
Okay. For starters, I'm not sure who did you play in the film, the voice.
I played Miss Amal, the teacher, the counselor.
Okay. Tell me a bit how you approached the role, let's say.
So I think it was, what made it easier is that, as Cynthia said, I was part of the producers team and the writers team from the beginning. So we all knew the backstories that you might not see in the actual movie. We knew what her characteristics were, what her background is, where she came from, why she wants to help Saleem. And that was part of what made it sound very real when I acted as Miss Amal.
Okay. And since you are from the producer's perspective, can you tell me a bit how was the experience working with the film? How difficult, how easy, how fun? I don't know.
It was so much fun. So we started it 4 years ago, and as Cynthia said, COVID hit in the middle, and it became very challenging for us, but also made it very rewarding working with a lot of people from Jordan and internationally, because everybody was staying at home, so we were able to control the work environment. We worked a lot, as Jonathan said, on Zoom, and also our team here worked. I mean, it was an excellent environment for that. It was, Shadi, do you have anything to add on the production? It was very interesting, very rewarding to be able to see how people are enjoying the film now, and also getting into Annecy and getting into big festivals.
Okay, all right. So you are comfortable with multitasking then?
Yes, all of us are.
Okay, all right. And I'm not sure who would like to answer the next question, but maybe you can tell me a bit about how is the industry, the movie industry in the country at the moment, particularly regarding animation, but also in general?
Well, the movie industry in the region is booming now, I think. A lot of films are being made, are getting famous. Jordan, especially, is becoming a hub for not just for films coming to produce, to be filmed in Jordan through the Royal Film Commission, but also the role of the Royal Film Commission, I think, is also being able to help filmmakers produce their films and support them in their journey is becoming something great, not just in Jordan, but also in the region. There's a lot of films that now are getting a lot of international attention. In Jordan this year, we have 2 films that made it to Cannes and now Saleem to Annecy. And so it's becoming, I think, a booming industry in the region and in Jordan.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I hope my question is not inappropriate, but I wanted to ask, is Jordan as rich as some neighboring countries like Saudi Arabia, and is it the same, or Kuwait, would you say? I'm not sure the situation.
Sorry, what's the question again? Can you repeat
if
that?
it's the country is as rich as, let's say, Saudi Arabia, or
I will let Shadi answer this question.
Okay.
If we're talking here about the human capital and the talents of people and the determination of doing good things and having impact, and creativity of the region, yes, I would say yes, we are as rich as Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. But in terms of oil and money, no.
Okay. All right.
So we are rich and really, the young people in Jordan, hardworking, committed, creative people, and teachable also.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we see, at least in our industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And are there any plans to release the film in Jordan?
Yes. After we finish the festival circuit, the 1 year festival circuit, yes, it will be released in Jordan, also in Middle East. And the good thing is that it's dubbed in English now. Mm-hmm. And we are working on to dub it in Ukrainian and also in Spanish. So maybe other languages. So it will be not dubbed as a production, really good quality of dubbing. So we hope that this story, and mental awareness, that this message of hope, it will get to as many as people in the world.
Mm-hmm. And could you say what was the budget for the film, more or less, rough number, maybe?
I think I'm not sure if I can disclose this information yet because of 2 things. Okay. The budget is not really closed yet, and so. And we're taking some loans from the bank, so I don't want these figures to be out there yet. Yeah.
I understand.
I will tell you, it's a lot of money, and I was admitted to the hospital once because of high blood pressure. So maybe that will give you an example, give you like a range of how much.
Okay, I think there is a movie in there. How did this movie got shot, right? You can make a movie about how you shot the movie at some point.
Okay? Yeah. Actually, the story behind the story, behind film Saleem, I really think it's very interesting. And all the people that you talked to today, and all of the team, they are as much as invested in their time, their passion, their talent in the movie as Cynthia and I, because they believed in the film and the message of the film.
Okay, all right. So we just have 4 minutes. So one last question: can you tell me about any future projects? Are you planning to working together again?
Yes, I will ask, let Cynthia answer this question. All right, thank you. It was great talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Future projects. Yes, we think we discussed about making like a side story, also like a spin-off of Saleem, maybe going into the story of Zaina or Miss Amal, or any other character. And we have also some ideas for short films, short animated films. And yeah, so I think these two are on the pipeline of brainstorming and thinking about it.
Okay. Well, great. I guess that's it. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Fano.
Okay.
Very nice talking to you.
Okay.